Multiple reports have indicated that the New York Knicks are looking to make a superstar trade this offseason. But if that's the case, the one question that comes to mind is who's that player? Who is the player the New York Knicks are going to target and try to trade for this offseason? Well, according to multiple NBA insiders, the player that they want the New York Knicks to trade for is Mikal Bridges. We're going to break down the exact trade that they want the New York Knicks to make and why they want the Knicks to make this trade. All of this and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now and make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. NBA insiders want Mikal Bridges on the New York Knicks. Now, a couple of months ago, before the OG Anunoby trade happened, if you asked me who the perfect fit, the perfect player, the one player I would want the New York Knicks to trade for to get on this roster, it would absolutely be Mikal Bridges. Now, after the OG Anunoby trade, filling in that wing position, now the question comes up, who would you want to trade for? There's still a lot of players around the league I would like the Knicks to trade for. But if Mikal Bridges would be available and the Nets would trade him to the Knicks, I would be all for it, and I would still want Mikal Bridges on this team because he just doesn't have to be a wing for this team. He can also play in the backcourt with Jalen Brunson. And if he did that and you had OG Anunoby, you would have one of the biggest backcourts in the entire league, and you would have size at each and every position, especially the positions you need it the most at. That's why if Mikal Bridges is available, I absolutely agree with these NBA insiders. I would absolutely go ahead and trade for him as well too. But let's go ahead and check out the trade that these NBA insiders want the Knicks to make in order to get Mikal Bridges on this Knicks roster. According to them, the trade that NBA insiders across the board want to see made for the New York Knicks is for them to trade for Mikal Bridges. And these NBA insiders have sources league-wide. So what they're saying, you can likely take it that a lot of other people want the same thing too. And according to them, trades NBA insiders want to see is Bridges goes across the bridge. In this trade, the Knicks would receive Mikal Bridges, and the Nets would receive Evan Fournier, Quentin Grimes, a 2024 first-round pick from Dallas, top 10 protected, a 2025 first-round pick from Milwaukee, top 4 protected, a 2025 first-round pick from the New York Knicks, a 2027 first-round pick from the New York Knicks, and a 2029 first-round pick, top 5 protected from the New York Knicks. The picks you see from the New York Knicks that don't have any type of protections next to it likely means those picks are unprotected. Shout out to ESPN's Bobby Marks and a lot of other NBA insiders for weighing in regarding the trade the New York Knicks should make. And I absolutely agree with them. Today, even as we stand, I would want Mikal Bridges on this Knicks team and on this roster. And if you're asking why, it's very simple. Because he still fits a position of need and he could still help this Knicks team today and in the future. The Knicks trade for Mikal Bridges, it's a game-changing trade. Mega trade, blockbuster, game-altering. The Knicks, if they're kind of contenders right here, if they trade for Mikal Bridges, especially for the trade package we just saw, they go from here all the way up there, past the screen. They are absolutely locked in as contenders. I would give them one of the best chances in the entire NBA to get and win the NBA championship. That's what a Mikal Bridges trade for this Knicks roster means, especially if this is a trade on the table. Now, I know what you guys are thinking already. Troy, I know you want Mikal Bridges, but he's having a down year, and you want the Knicks to give up 5 first-round picks? 5 picks? How can we justify giving up 5 picks for Mikal Bridges? Here's why. Again, like I said, if you trade for Mikal Bridges, he turns the Knicks into legit contenders, not only for this year, but for year after year after year after year. For every year with the New York Knicks, and the Knicks can keep the core they get after making this trade, they're likely going to be contenders for the next few seasons. That's one reason. The second reason is, you know how the Carmelo Anthony trade, when we did it a couple of years ago, it was one of the best trades that we did. We loved Melo here, but it was something to start off what we needed to do. If we add Mikal Bridges, it would basically be the final piece to what we want to build. Because once you do that, this Knicks team is set. They're locked and they look like one of the best teams in the league. They look like that already. You add Mikal Bridges, they absolutely are. And there is no argument to be made. So those are the reasons why I would give up these first round picks. But also, 2 of these picks are not even our picks. 2 of these picks are protected picks from other teams. So I'm absolutely okay with giving those away. And those 3 picks that we're giving away, the 2025 pick, no problem with that. The 2027 pick, no problem with that. The one pick that I had a problem with was the 2029 pick. And I think a lot of other people may have a problem with that pick as well too, because it's so far in the future that you're thinking, anything could happen. You don't want to go ahead and give that pick away. But the fact that they're giving that pick away and having it be top 5 protected makes me feel a little bit better. Because if the worst case scenario happens that year and we don't do well, let's say we are a lottery team and we do get a top pick, we might still be able to keep it. That's what you got to think about if you're the New York Knicks and Leon Rose. That's why when I saw this trade from top to bottom, I loved it because it made sense. And those protections on that final pick in 2029 make a lot of sense for me, helps me, and makes me feel even more comfortable to make this deal. But you know what? Let's see why NBA insider Bobby Marks feels the New York Knicks should make this move. According to Marks, he suggested a deal where the Knicks acquire Bridges in exchange for reserve guard Quentin Grimes, expiring contract Evan Fournier, and 5 future first-round picks, as we just reviewed. And he stated the following: what happens if one morning Knicks president Leon Rose picks up the phone and calls Nets general manager Sean Marks to offer him an unprecedented 5 first-round picks in Quentin Grimes? This is 2 more firsts than Cleveland Cavaliers sent to Utah for All-Star Donovan Mitchell. So according to Marks and the NBA insiders that he speaks with, the reason that Sean Marks might do this deal, if that call does happen from Leon Rose, is because number 1, it's unprecedented. That type of thing does not happen. And number 2, that is a lot more than anybody else I think would be able to give up or would be willing to give up for Mikal Bridges. And the reason the Knicks might want to do this is because number 1, he's another Villanova guy. He fits with Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, and Josh Hart. Josh Hart repeatedly, each and every time he plays the Nets or Mikal Bridges sounds unhappy, he tweets him and says, "Hey, Mikal, call my phone." And there's a reason he does that. It's an inside joke basically stating, call me because I'm going to convince you to join the Knicks, the team you should be on anyways. And everybody in New York would likely agree. They would want Mikal Bridges on this roster. Mikal, Jalen, Randall when he comes back on this roster with OG Anunoby, it's lethal. It's crazy. Who's stopping that team? Defensively, you're not stopping the Knicks. Offensively, they are covering you each and every area. Shooting, they have it. Paint shooting, they got it. You want inside-outside game, they got it and then some. And they have 2 of the best centers in the league on defense when healthy in Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein. Who's stopping the Knicks? How are you stopping that? And that's why you make the trade, ladies and gentlemen, because that's the question everybody's going to have after that trade happens. Who is stopping the Knicks now? I understand some of the hesitation regarding giving up so many picks for a player, especially when you don't know if it's going to work out. There might be chemistry issues. I get all of that. But all of those risks, I'm willing to take if it means getting Mikal Bridges and that type of caliber player on this roster. One of the best young wing defenders in the game. One of the best lethal three-point shooters when locked in and focused. We saw what he did last year for the Nets. We see what he can do when he's locked in and focused, and he has other players around him that actually can play well, and can make a shot because he can also pass very well. The problem is when he passes certain people on the Nets, they don't make the shot. So he doesn't get credited with any type of assist. If he came to the Knicks, he'd be passing to Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo. What would happen if that pass happened? Because I'm thinking more times than not, they're getting the bucket. That means that man's numbers is going up. That means his value is going up. That means he looks better. And if you can ask any NBA player what they want most, they want to go to a team where they look good, they can play significant minutes, and they can have an impact. Mikal Bridges would do all of that and more. He's that caliber of player. He's that type of star, and he's exactly the star that the New York Knicks need. He can score when you want to, but he doesn't have to. And he will always and forever give you defense. If Julius Randle is Iron Man number 1, then Mikal Bridges is Iron Man number 2, because both of them are built from the same cloth. They don't want to miss games. They like to be there for their teams, and they're impactful when they're on the floor. You don't want Mikal Bridges? You don't want to do this deal? I'm sorry, miss me on that. I don't care who you are, and you can come at me in the comments all you want. Mikal Bridges is the player the Knicks need to get. He's the player that I want the Knicks to go after, and if this trade is on the table or Sean Marks would accept that trade, I'm doing it every day of the week. Leon, Worldwide West, Gerson Rosas, pick up the phone. Talk to Sean Marks. I know we don't trade with the Nets. I get it. It's never going to happen because of that reason. Guess what? We traded with Toronto and we had a lawsuit with them. So everything we thought we knew is now off the table. Pick up the phone. Call Sean Marks. See what it would take to get Mikal Bridges on this roster and get him on this team. Because you turned this Knicks team into a fringe contender team into a legit contender team. And isn't that what we are trying to do this season in the first place? Isn't that the moves and the trades all Knicks fans want to see happen? Isn't that the team we want to root for? Because for me, that's what I want. And if this is all it's going to take to get me what I want, to make the Knicks legit championship contenders in the NBA, I am doing it every single day. Mikal Bridges fits. He checks boxes. He already has chemistry with the best player on our roster in Jalen Brunson. Add all that up, and that equals one of the best trade targets the Knicks need to go after. Whether it's now or whether it's this offseason, either way, the Knicks need to make sure they at least try, to get Mikal Bridges on this roster. And if it doesn't work out for whatever the reason may be, fine. You shot your shot. It didn't work out. Go after another player that you feel can fit just as well with this Knicks team and can help you out just as much. Newsflash, I don't think you're going to find that player, but you might come close to find somebody that might be similar and give you a similar type of impact, but nobody exactly, because Mikal on this Knicks team is a mega trade, blockbuster, game changing. I hope and pray the Knicks could do this, get this deal done, and make this magical deal happen, because it would absolutely be some magic if Leon Rose and the Knicks could pull that trade off to get Mikal Bridges here, especially if it's going to be this trade offer right here, because in my opinion, if you get Mikal Bridges for that offer, you stole Mikal Bridges. 2 protected picks, 3 picks, 2 of them unprotected, 1 of them still a Knicks pick, but not protected in 2029. It's again a top 5 protected pick. It all makes sense to me. I agree with Bobby Marks here. If the Knicks and Leon Rose know what's good for them, this is the target that they're going to try to get this offseason. I don't think it happens during the season, but during this offseason, especially if the Nets do really, really bad and spiral even more out of control, which I don't know if it's even possible given how bad they've looked recently. But if it happens, then Mikal Bridges might be a player to watch this offseason that the New York Knicks could trade for. And I don't think that ESPN's Bobby Marks and all these other NBA insiders would have mentioned this, would have said this, would have pulled for this if there even wasn't a possibility of it occurring. So even in that regard, it makes me happy and it's making me smile today. But what about you guys? What do you think about this trade offer the New York Knicks could potentially pose to Brooklyn to get Mikal Bridges on this roster? Would you do it? Because in my opinion, I would. But let me know in the comments, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.